Afternoon, everyone. Ben here, and today we're going to be looking at a Trump because I saw a hilarious, not a hilarious article, but I saw an article on 538 saying that there was a non-zero chance that LeBron James runs for president. So yeah, we're doing Trump versus LeBron James, and honestly, I don't think this matchup is going to happen. But I thought it was intriguing enough that it was worth a look at the very least, right? So before I get into it, I do want to talk about perceived bias on my channel and how a lot of people have commented that it does seem that maybe I give Trump too much credit or that I'm biased towards Trump and the Republicans. And maybe I am, just a little bit, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. You have so many channels that are biased towards the Democrats and towards progressives that there needs to be another perspective that is lightly biased towards the conservatives and towards Trump. And even then, I wouldn't say I'm that biased. Plus, I try to at least have some sort of a methodology. I always mention that a presidential candidate gets about 7% advantage in their home state, and a vice presidential candidate will lend that ticket about 3% advantage in that state for when I do include vice presidential candidates. In addition, you can go find the future margins video and see where I tried to establish my baseline for 2020 and how I'm going to use that based off of various potential national swings and stuff. If you want to have a well-rounded viewing of election prediction channels, watch Stellar Spark, who I think has probably the most in-depth methodology. He goes way into the metaphorical weeds, and I deeply respect that, and I really like his channel. Seriously, check him out. I know he doesn't need the extra help growing, but I feel like I need to give him the credit he has earned, because I don't like using the word deserved, but that's neither here nor there, and maybe we should start a podcast where I can nitpick about things like how I hate using the word deserve, because no one ever deserves anything other than human dignity. You deserve what you earn, so to speak, is what I'm trying to say. And if you want a slightly Democrat-biased channel, watch LTE's channel, Let's Talk Elections. Ethan's a good kid, and of course you get 3 different perspectives when you watch his channel. When you watch my channel, you get a Southerner's perspective on a lot of things. When I say that, I mean deep South. I'm talking, I grew up in a lot of different places, but I've adopted Georgia as my home state because I graduated high school there. So you got Louisiana, so I grew up in places like Louisiana, Georgia, South Carolina. Of course I live in Virginia now, but you're getting a Southerner's perspective. I'm probably going to move to Tennessee at some point, just because I really like Tennessee. And when you watch Ethan's channel, you're getting a Marylander's perspective, kind of, I don't want to say a Northeastern perspective, but Maryland kind of does feel like the Northeast in a lot of ways, other than climate. And with Stellar Spark, you get a Pennsylvanian's perspective. And also watch Kelvin's channel. Don't ever forget to watch his channel. Him and I have been kind of growing his channels together, and he should be in my featured channels now. He doesn't upload as regularly, but understand that's the way things work with him and his schedule. He's not always able to be super consistent with his uploads. But he's from Illinois, so there's a Midwesterner perspective for you. Now all we need is a Southwestern, a West Coast, and a New England perspective, and you can get a full round, and maybe even include someone from the Mountain West. Maybe a Texan perspective, because that's desperately needed, because Texas isn't part of the Southwest. A lot of people hesitate to call it part of the South. I call it part of the South because it is part of the South. But yeah, so that's kind of my rant over about how you need different perspectives in order to get a well-rounded opinion. That's why, even though I tend to lean more conservative, I don't just watch and read conservative news. I read a lot of left-wing news and watch a lot of left-wing news, because I feel it's important to understand what the other argument is. And when I say news, I kind of call it news analysis, because most of these channels, what people complain about is the analysis of what's being reported, not what is being reported. But I don't want to ramble on for another 10 minutes about something that isn't the topic of this video. So the prediction is going to start right now. So LeBron James versus Donald Trump. James is probably going to run as an Ohioan, but and I'll talk about that later. Let's get rid of the states that are safe for each candidate. And then start talking about the swingy states. I'm not going to bother with Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District. I don't think that would actually change in this scenario. So I'm just going to leave it with the rest of the state. And Illinois, obviously. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I read an article on 538 that was talking about how LeBron James can say whatever he wants about politics because he is an NBA player who tends to play in super urban centers, whereas if an NFL player was running their mouths on politics, the NFL fan base is a lot more conservative, so they're not going to be able to get away with it as much. Now, LeBron James, I wouldn't call him quite a Sanders candidate, but I think he's a little bit further to the left than the median Democrat. So he's halfway in between a liberal and a progressive in that regard. I think that's going to lose him some votes in some places, especially the Southwest and the South. It would probably help him enough in the Midwest to ensure that the Democrats flip these, but just barely. I don't think him being from Ohio would be enough to flip the state. And remember, Trump won it by an exceedingly large margin. In 2016, he just barely wind up losing it. But like I said, I think he'd lose votes in the South. And maybe he'd probably lose enough moderates in New Hampshire to flip that state, but I'm not confident enough to say that he would lose Maine's at large. So I'm just going to lean that to him. Colorado, I don't think he'd lose. He wouldn't flip Arizona. There's a decent chance that pops over 5% with for Trump. And Nevada, I think, would flip, but ever so slightly. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is LeBron James is kind of that dream candidate in the same way that Oprah Winfrey was. a Democrat who can self-fund, is charismatic, and has a following other than a political following, meaning that you might attract some people who wouldn't normally vote. So it comes down to Florida and Virginia. And I'm giving Florida to Trump based off of incumbency. And he's still fairly well liked. Virginia, I'm not so sure about, if I'm 100% honest. So I'm actually going to leave Virginia for the Democrats in this case. Also, I forgot about Hawaii. Sorry, Hawaiians. Didn't mean to do that. I'm going to leave Virginia for the Democrats, but this may be one of the closer election predictions I've put out in a long time. Simply because of the nature of the candidate the Democrats have. I think this isn't an unreasonable prediction, but then again, Democrats could view LeBron James as a joke candidate, and he loses a lot more states, and maybe even make some states I've got marked as safe Democrat competitive. Who knows, you know. But I think LeBron James is a little bit less of a joke than Kanye would be. Especially now that Kanye has gone full in on support of Trump. Which I didn't expect. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I want you all to take it easy. Have a nice day, and thanks for putting up with my rambling.